In 2016, a group of about 20 girls at a government high school began exhibiting strange behavior. The girls, all students at the school in Shan Kyaw village, displayed physical and mental symptoms. They were exhausted, felt chills in their limbs, and many of them seemed to have lost control of their mind, shouting and making other unusual noises. Their behavior persisted for weeks. The government sent psychologists and psychiatrists to the school to investigate, and they diagnosed the girls as suffering from mass hysteria and prescribed medication. But parents of the hundreds of students at the school believed there was another reason for the behavior: possession by evil spirits. They suspected that spirits possessed the girls because they were angry about an expansion project at the school last year that resulted in classrooms being built on a former cemetery. The ghosts of the dead wanted revenge for having been disturbed. They were so concerned that the region chief minister, Myaynigone, got involved. He visited the school on October the 25th and ordered the evil spirits to leave. His guards then fired guns into the air to frighten them away. However, the girls showed no improvement, and the parents at the school became increasingly worried. At this point, Kin Nan, a member of the well-known ghost-busting Shin Gyi sect, read about the girls' plight on Facebook. He knew his skills as an exorcist were needed. He spent 3 days in the village, communicating and negotiating with the evil spirits. Whether through his efforts, or those of the mental health specialists sent by the government, or a combination of both, the girls' behavior returned to normal. But Kin then has no doubt it was his efforts that succeeded in exorcising the evil spirits. Although the Shin Gyi sect is controversial among disbelievers, superstition and belief in the supernatural is widespread in Myanmar. In many parts of the country, when people suspect that malevolent spirits are active, the first person they call is a member of the Shin Gyi sect to arrange an exorcism. In Myanmar, shadows are not just the absence of light. They are the echoes of spirits walking alongside the living. Here, the ancient temples are more than relics, they are gateways to a world where ghosts linger, restless and watchful. The dense jungles hum with unseen presences. The rivers murmur ancient secrets, and the night carries whispers of souls that refuse to rest. This is a land where superstition blends with reality. Where every flicker of a candle, every sudden chill, is a sign from beyond. From rural villages to urban sprawl, the unseen world shapes daily life, and the spirits of the past shape the present. Welcome to Myanmar, a haunted land like no other. Welcome to the Glim. Myanmar, formerly known as Burma, is a land steeped in history, once the center of powerful kingdoms like Pagan and later a British colony before gaining independence in 1948. Its complex past is woven tightly into the beliefs of its people. Buddhism is deeply integrated into everyday life here, guiding morals, rituals, and community. But alongside Buddhism thrives a rich tapestry of animist beliefs and folk superstitions that date back centuries, long before colonial times. These ancient traditions shape a spiritual landscape where humans, spirits, and the natural world are inseparable. Villagers frequently seek the guidance of local shamans called Nat Kadas, mediums who communicate with the Nats, spirits that encompass everything from nature and ancestors to legendary historical figures. These Nats hold immense influence, capable of bestowing fortune or misfortune, and so offerings and shrines dedicated to them are common sights. Houses are carefully built with respect to these spirits, and vibrant festivals like the annual Tongbayon Nat Festival bring the community together through dance, music, and sacrifice to honor and appease them. But not all spirits are friendly. Myanmar's folklore warns of restless and malevolent beings who roam the shadows at night, ghosts seeking revenge, protectors of sacred land, or cunning tricksters who revel in chaos and mischief. In this land, the boundary between the physical and spirit worlds is fluid, and respect for the unseen is woven into daily existence. In the shadows of Myanmar's quiet villages and bustling towns, one ghostly figure inspires a fear unlike any other, Phae Wah, the dread guardian of cemeteries. She is said to roam the night, carrying a heavy wooden coffin on her shoulder, moving silently between houses and dark alleys. Her purpose is chillingly clear: she seeks those whose time has come, delivering an unspoken warning of death soon to strike. To see Phae Wah's slender silhouette against the moonlight is considered an omen so dreadful that families tremble at the mere thought. Local lore warns that if she places her coffin at your doorstep, it means death is imminent for someone within your household. This terrifying superstition has led to a widespread practice of placing cryptic signs outside homes, scrawled with baffling phrases such as, "Baby's flesh is bitter, dog's flesh is sweet." These strange messages serve as traps for her spirit, confusing her and dissuading her from lingering. The fear of Phae Wah runs so deep that it shapes how people behave when encountering her apparition. Folklore advises that running or screaming will only provoke her wrath. Instead, one must remain calm, quiet, and respectful. To appease her, offerings are left, usually bowls of rice, cooked meat, or traditional Burmese sweets, rituals meant to honor her and keep her satisfied. Ignoring these customs, locals say, risks inviting misfortune, illness, or even death. The legend of Phae Wah reveals more than just a ghost story. It echoes Myanmar's complex relationship with death and the afterlife, where spirits are not only feared but deeply respected. In a country where funerary rites are sacred, and ancestral spirits are believed to watch over families, Phae Wah stands as a grim reminder: death is always close, always watching, and must be acknowledged with reverence. Shin Gyi is one of Myanmar's most powerful and enigmatic nats, deeply tied to the wild landscapes of the Irrawaddy Delta. He is often depicted alongside a fierce tiger and a lurking crocodile, symbolizing his command over the jungle and waterways. According to legend, while on an expedition to find food, Shin Gyi and his fellow lumberjacks reached Myaynigone Island. His harp playing entranced two Nat sisters who refused to let the boat leave until they were appeased. In a final act of sacrifice, Shin Gyi allowed himself to drown, pleasing the spirits and becoming a Nat himself. Each year in March, a festival is held in his honor, drawing pilgrims who seek his protection. Though he is venerated, Shin Gyi's spirit is not without danger. Villagers warn that his ghost roams the misty mangroves, his haunting harp music drifting through the night air. Those who follow the melody risk being drawn deep into the delta's labyrinthine rivers, never to return. Shamans and Nat Kadaws conduct rituals to appease him, hoping to keep his protective power and avoid his wrath. Shin Gyi's story embodies the delicate balance of Myanmar's spiritual world, where the line between guardian and punisher is razor-thin, and respect for nature's spirits is a matter of survival. In the heart of Yangon, beneath the bustle of modern life, stands the Strand Hotel, a stately relic from Myanmar's colonial past, where time seems to have frozen, and ghosts roam the grand halls. Built in 1901, the Strand was once the jewel of British Burma, a place where colonial officers and wealthy travelers gathered to escape the tropical heat. But behind its elegant facade and polished woodwork lurks a darker tale, one marked by loss, despair, and lingering spirits. Staff and guests alike tell stories of eerie footsteps echoing in empty corridors, cold drafts that defy the tropical heat, and shadowy figures glimpsed from the corner of the eye. Some claim to have seen a ghostly British officer, still dressed in his colonial uniform, silently pacing the verandas, as if waiting for a long-lost order. Others speak of a woman in white, drifting silently through the ballrooms, her presence felt but never fully seen. Whispers of tragic romances, untimely deaths, and secrets buried beneath the hotel's foundation swirl around these spectral sightings. Legend says the hotel served as a refuge during turbulent times, including World War II, when battles and betrayals left scars not just on the land, but on the spirits trapped within its walls. Some believe that restless souls of those who perished here remain, unable to move on. One chilling account comes from a former bellboy, who described waking in the night to find his room flooded with a sudden coldness, then hearing the faint strains of an old piano playing, even though the hotel's grand piano had been silent for decades. The Strand is more than a hotel, it's a haunted echo of Myanmar's colonial history, where luxury and terror intertwine. Visitors come for its grandeur, but many leave with stories of unexplained shadows and a feeling that, in this place, the past never truly dies. Hidden deep within the misty jungles and mountain caves of Myanmar, far from temples and village shrines, are the secret lairs of the Weizza, mystic hermits said to have transcended death. To most outsiders, they are the stuff of legend. But for many in Myanmar, the Weizza are very real, reclusive sorcerers who have mastered powerful esoteric practices, astral travel, alchemy, divination, and even immortality. They are believed to exist in a parallel realm, able to enter and leave the human world at will. The word Weizza comes from the Pali Vijja, meaning knowledge. But this is no ordinary wisdom, it is secret knowledge, often passed in whispers, guarded by oaths, and written in arcane scripts locked away in ancient monasteries. The Weizza pursue a supernatural path that splits from traditional Buddhism, seeking eternal life not through reincarnation, but through hidden rituals and disciplines learned from spirit teachers and non-human entities. Locals claim some Weizza live for hundreds of years, appearing young while hiding in plain sight. Others vanish into forests, returning only when their powers are needed. They are feared as much as they are revered. While many are seen as protectors or healers, some have fallen into shadow, corrupted by power, known to strike down enemies with curses, or control others through talismans and charms. In remote areas, children are still warned not to stray too far into the forest, lest they cross into a place watched over by a Weizza, an invisible eye in the trees, a voice in the wind, an unexplained illness that lingers. Some monks and scholars refuse to speak of them at all. Their followers still leave offerings of betel nut, candles, and coins at sacred banyan trees or old forest shrines, hoping to gain a favor, a vision, or protection. But there is always a warning. If you ask something from a Weizza, you must be prepared to give something in return. In Myanmar, not all spirits are vengeful. Some are worshipped, revered, even feared, not for their cruelty, but for their power. They are called nats, supernatural beings that exist alongside Buddhism, shaping the fates of the living. The word nat may sound gentle, but its origins are anything but. The most sacred are the 37 great nats, officially recognized by King Anuruddha in the 11th century when he sought to unify a diverse spiritual landscape under Theravada Buddhism. But to control the spirits, he had to honor them, creating shrines, festivals, and an official pantheon. What binds most of these 37 together is a disturbing truth. They were once human. And they died violently. Beheadings, betrayals, burnings, falls from power. These deaths were often unjust, and in Burmese cosmology, an unjust death does not simply end a life, it transforms it. These spirits, full of unresolved rage or loyalty, became semi-divine forces, capable of granting favors, punishing disrespect, or haunting the careless. Each nat has their own backstory, rituals, and personality. Some demand offerings of alcohol and meat. Others prefer incense and songs. To this day, in rural villages and bustling cities alike, nat shrines stand beside Buddha images, a silent acknowledgement that faith in Myanmar isn't one thing. It is many, layered, sacred, and deeply haunted. One of the most haunting and tragic spirits said to roam Myanmar is the ghost known as Ponna Nya, often called the White Lady. Her story is woven into the misty banks of the mighty Irrawaddy River, where fishermen whisper her name with dread. According to legend, Ponna Nya was once a beautiful woman deeply in love, but betrayed by the very man she trusted most. Overcome with sorrow and heartbreak, she threw herself into the river, her life ending in the cold, dark currents. But her spirit did not find peace. Locals say that on moonless nights, when the river is still and silent, Ponna Nya appears near the water's edge, dressed in a flowing white garment, her face pale and haunting. Her mournful singing drifts through the night air, a siren's call meant to lure unsuspecting fishermen from their boats. Those who hear her song and follow it risk never returning. The White Lady's ghost is said to weave an invisible web beneath the water's surface, pulling her victims down into the depths, drowning them in the same river that claimed her life. Fishermen tell of ghostly shapes in their nets, cold hands brushing against their ankles, and the eerie echo of a woman's lament carried on the wind. To this day, many refuse to fish after dark near her haunts, fearing the wrath of Ponna Nya and the fate that befell so many before them. Ten years after the brutal military crackdown of 1988, where hundreds of protesters were killed near Myaynigone Junction, a new kind of unrest began to rise. But this time, it wasn't political. It was paranormal. In the sweltering heat of June, residents in the bustling Myaynigone neighborhood began whispering about something strange. Televisions in nearby electronics shops had reportedly exploded, some say they oozed blood. A child claimed the water from their tap turned red. Others saw ghostly figures in shop windows, or felt an overwhelming sense of dread passing through the junction. What started as rumor quickly spiraled into hysteria. Crowds began to form at the site, hoping, some dreading, to witness something supernatural. The gatherings grew so large and tense that local authorities were forced to intervene, dispersing people late into the night. To many, this was more than folklore. They believed the ghosts of 1988 had returned, restless, vengeful, and angry that the world had moved on. There were no viral videos in 1998. No smartphones. But eyewitness accounts spread fast, from tea shops to crowded buses to clandestine leaflets passed hand to hand. Even respected Burmese writers, like those behind Old Burma Hand, documented the eerie mass panic and the unsettling synchronicity. These sightings happened exactly 10 years after the bloodshed. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it stopped. No official explanation. No arrests. No follow-up. Only silence, and the lingering suspicion that in Myaynigone, the dead were not done speaking. In Myanmar, the boundary between the living and the dead is thin and fragile. Spirits linger in every shadow. These aren't just tales, they are living warnings from a world beyond our own. The unseen forces here shape reality, demanding respect and caution. In this haunted land, the past never dies, and the spirits never rest. I want to thank our members and subscribers for supporting the channel. Also, if you have any suggestions for the next country in our ghost tour, please let me know in the comments. See you next time.